What's going on, Jax Sauce? Eric here. Today I want to show you how we do a pulled pork sandwich Jax Sauce Co style. What's the start of any good sandwich? The bun. We're going to make one for you. A little flour, sift that like we learned in 7th grade, warm water. I'm going to dump some sugar in there. Once I find a whisk, I'll actually whisk that up. Baking is definitely not my strong suit, something I'm really just getting into. Figure if I'm going to be doing Jax Sauce and making barbecue, I want to be able to make my own buns. So you're actually watching me practice learning how to bake. I'm self-taught. Everything I do, this is just how I do it. The yeast goes in. We're going to let that sit for about 10 minutes. Just kind of whisk it in there once 10 minutes is up. I think that looks good. Bakers, anyone watching this that knows better than I do, let me know if I'm doing this right, because I'm definitely not. Go ahead and dump our flour into that water, sugar, yeast mix. I only missed a little bit. Usually I miss a lot more, so I'm actually pretty proud of myself. Tablespoon of olive oil, and a little trick somebody told me, milk powder goes in there as well. Quickly realized I didn't add enough water to this mixture. It wasn't going anywhere, so I added more, crossed my fingers. Hopefully we got dough, and we did. We got dough. I was really proud. This is a win for me. Usually when I make a mistake like that, things go really, really bad. Excessive amount of flour on the board. I'm going to go ahead and knead this by hand just because I actually enjoy kneading dough. It's kind of cathartic for me. Shape that into a ball. That's nice. Little olive oil, grease up a 6-quart plastic container. A little more on the ball, put that in there. It's time to let this rise. A lot of people say an hour, hour and a half at like 72, 75 degrees. So I don't keep my home that hot. So I always give it a little extra time. I'm going to let this rise for about 2 hours. See what happens. And success. The dough has risen. Let's go ahead, punch that down. We're going to get it out and do what I cannot do. I'm just horrible at it. I'm not patient enough, to be honest. And that's shake the bread. I make something I like to call ugly bread, where it just never turns out looking great. But if I want to make my own buns, I have to learn. Let's get those on a sheet pan. We're going to cover that, let those rise for about an hour and a half. Finally get to what I'm good at, and that's the meat. We have a couple 10-pound pork butts. We're going to go ahead and trim the loose fat and the thicker fat off the top there. We're going to save that fat, actually. We'll vacuum seal that up. We can use it for sausage later. This looks pretty good. I cannot stand when yellow mustard does that. It's so gross. We're using yellow mustard as our binder. I really like it on pork. Binders are important. I really do believe they help with an even bark and really hold the spices on the meat longer. You're going to get more flavor, more intense flavors. And of course, we're using Jax Sauce Co's signature belly rub. This is the OG rub. I initially made it for pulled pork. I found out that it works great on wings and so many other things. There's a nice smoky flavor, lots of garlic, paprika. You get beautiful flavor, intense, bold flavors, and you get a beautiful color. We're gonna put a ton of this on there. When it comes to bigger meats and bigger flavors like pulled pork, brisket, whatnot, I love using a lot of rub. If you don't want a huge flavor from it, just don't put as much on, but I put a lot on. I want those flavors to stand out, and that takes a lot when you're using big, bold meats and smoke. Don't forget to get the sides. That's very important. You want to coat this all the way around. As you can see, there's a lot of rub on there. These are beautiful. I'm so happy. I can't wait. Look at the color. I'm also a big fan of injecting this right here. This is my secret ingredient, pineapple juice. Not apple juice, apple cider vinegar, but not apple juice, pineapple juice. I'm gonna add a little bit of Worcestershire in here as well. I like the injection. It's adding moisture, helps keep your meat from drying out, and it does marinate from the inside out. You're getting flavor here, and we're all about that. Just making sure I know where the bone is, and then I'm gonna start injecting. Careful, don't stand next to me. I tend to put too much pressure. You will get sprayed. It goes with the territory. I'm gonna do this every couple inches, make sure there's a ton of flavor. And once I'm done with that and they look good, I'm gonna go ahead, yeah, that's nice. I'm gonna go ahead and get those covered into the fridge for a few hours. All right, pork butts resting in the fridge for a few hours. It's time to bake some bread. These are ready. They look like sandwich rolls. They're a little off shape, but you know what? They're gonna work. We're gonna go ahead, cut some X's on top to release some pressure. At some point, this will help make it look more aesthetically pleasing, but for right now, we're gonna stick to my mantra of ugly bread. You know what? I'm getting there. We'll get there. I like to brush a little butter on the top. I like the glossy finish. I just like it. Plus, it's just a habit I got into when I'm baking or practicing baking. And then I also do sprinkle a little finishing salt over the top. Not too much. I don't want to make the bread salty. I just want to give it a little something. You know what? For me, these turned out all right. Like I said, ugly bread, but I'm happy with these. 4:30 in the morning. Whether you like it or not, it's time to start cooking. Fire's going strong. I have this beautiful black oak I get from the UP of Michigan. I love cooking on this stuff. Pork butts look beautiful. You can see they've absorbed a lot of the spice rub. I love it. We're going to go ahead, take them out of the pan, and we're going to hit them with a little more of that Jax Sauce Co belly rub. Flavor, man. We're going to go ahead, find the bone here, just to make sure we know where to put the probes. Get those in. The probes are really important, especially for the beginning of the cook, while I look for that 165 wrap temperature. Add some water to the leftover pan and the juice. This becomes our water pan for the smoker. We want to build humidity in that smoker, and this is going to do the trick. Those look great. Jax is excited. I'm excited. Smoke is rolling. We've been working with this fire now for a couple of hours. Keep it at pretty consistent, 250, 255. So it's definitely time to spritz the pork butt. I like to use apple cider vinegar. Keep it simple. I really want to focus on those edges, making sure those aren't drying out, but really I get the whole thing. I'm very liberal when it comes to my spritz. I like moisture in my smoker. More moisture equals juicier meat, and that's just building flavor, and you know what I'm all about. It's turned into a beautiful day. Jax loves his job. He guards that smoker. It's hysterical. Let's get ready to wrap. We are quickly approaching 165 internal temp. That's when I like to wrap. Pretty much between 160, 170 is your goal. I just do it at 165, split the middle. Internal temp is really important, but I also want to look at these. Make sure they're getting the bark I want. They look nice and juicy. I'm very happy with these. If you don't have the bark you want, let it run a little longer. It's all right, but I'm very happy. So why do I wrap pork butt in butcher paper over aluminum foil? Honestly, it comes down to flavor. I just think you get a more intense flavor in the butcher paper. I think it comes down to like a reduction, if you will, as that moisture evaporates. You can still allow the steam to escape. This is gonna intensify what's left over as far as moisture, as far as the flavor in there. It also saves your bark, to be honest, and I like a little bark on my pork. I like the crunchy bits. And with aluminum foil, you're steaming the meat. Essentially, it has nowhere to go. The steam stays in there. You cook the meat faster. You get juicy pork, but I think you get a less intense flavor. Nothing tops a pulled pork sandwich quite like coleslaw. Thinly sliced red onions, not too many. It can be overpowering. We're going to take the outer leaves off the cabbages here. I want to say this. Let me start by saying this as I'm doing that. It's okay to buy the shredded bag stuff and dress it your own. All this work isn't necessary unless you're crazy like me. I just like doing it myself. We're going to go ahead and core these cabbages, that really tough stuff in the middle. We don't need that. And once we core those, we are actually just going to kind of cut it into quarters more or less and get it ready to go into the food processor. Let's do the same here with the red cabbage. The red cabbage is a lot easier to see, so you know what you're cutting out. But once again, just quarter it. It's going right in the food processor. The wheel's going to have the slicing side up. You're going to push down. The slicing side is actually going to make great ribbons, perfect cabbage ribbons for your coleslaw. Next, skin and cut those carrots in half. Put it on the shredding side of that wheel, and it's a great hack to get yourself beautifully shredded carrots. So what do we dress coleslaw with at Jax Sauce Co? Of course, Jax Sauce Co Alabama White. Hear me out. Honestly, this makes a great coleslaw dressing. It's great for dipping. Of course, you can dip brisket in there, short rib. It tastes amazing. It's great for dipping wings in there. But I'm telling you, the horseradish, the black pepper, the citrus, and the garlic, it works great as a coleslaw dressing. There's enough acid in there that it stands out. It's perfect, and this is how we do it. We're going to keep working it in there. We're going to add a little until we get it to the right flavor profile. I'm telling you, man, get some Jax Sauce Co Alabama White. You are going to be so happy. Yeah, that's perfect. That's pretty. Nice and creamy. Going to have a lot of big, bold flavors. Jax Sauce Co Alabama White strikes again. Gotta taste it. And it is fantastic. I love the horseradish and the citrus acid. It works great with the crispy veggies. Great slaw. The probe is saying we've hit our goal of 200 degrees internal temperature. Let's get the cooler and the blankets out. Get ready for a rest. Bluetooth probes are great, but I always double check the meat, and I poked it a bunch of times, got different readings on it. was kind of suspicious, so there's only one tried and true scientific way to truly check if your pork is ready, and that is just start poking at it. Poking at it in the smoker, take it out, poke it at it again. If it passes the Jell-O test, I'm happy, and that's exactly where we were. That is just like meat Jell-O in there. I can't wait. Wrapped up, put in the cooler. Time to take about an hour and a half nap before we take a look. Moment of truth, and I'm very happy, man. If you could smell this, it's super juicy looking. Gotta see if the bone will come out, and of course it's gonna slide right out for us. I'm very, very excited about that. But most importantly, will it fall apart in my hands? Let's find out. Yeah, and that's why we do it right there. Smiling ear to ear, even just watching this right now. I love the feeling of just the pork literally falling apart in your hands. It never gets old. The second one, I knew was going to be even better because it didn't even want to let me pick it up. I had to take the whole thing over and just slap it down. I'm just going to let you watch from here. Oh, man. I couldn't wait to try this, man. It was a beautiful piece of meat. And that is a flavor bomb. Super moist, succulent pork flavor. The smoke is perfect. And you know what? It took the belly rub spices, really incorporated through the whole meat. This packs a punch. And of course, here at Jax Sauce Co, there's one palate that matters more than anything else. Nothing goes through without his approval. With that face, I'd say we passed. The pork's not quite sandwich ready yet. There's a little shredding that needs to take place. And of course, when the claws come out, you know I'm gonna do it. It never gets old. Truthfully, we didn't even need the claws because this just was falling apart in my hands, man. I was so happy with this cook. Let's heat some freshly pulled pork up in a pan. And of course, you cannot have a Jax Sauce Co pulled pork sandwich without Jax Sauce Co Tangy Carolina. This is a big, bold flavor. You're getting garlic, you're getting a tangy heat, mustard base. It's made to go with pork. This is the very first sauce I ever made. The first barbecue I ever did was pulled pork, and I wanted to make my own sauce to go along with it. Now, it's gone through different incarnations, but this was the start of Jax Sauce Co. This sauce really does hold a special place in my heart. Finally, time to build a sandwich. We're going to take and toast up one of those pretty rolls I made. It's a little dense. I'm going to get better. This won't be the last sandwich I make. It's going to do fine. We're going to pile that high with that beautiful pulled pork, man. Look at that. Next, we're going to hit it with a little bit more of the Tangy Carolina. I love this sauce, and its big, bold flavor is just perfect for this sandwich. All right, it's time to add a little texture with our crunch factor, that Alabama white coleslaw we made. The creaminess on this is gonna be great. The crunchiness is gonna work so well with the pulled pork. The horseradish and the garlic is gonna balance so well with the Tangy Carolina. So many bold flavors here. This packs a punch. This is a big, bold flavored sandwich. Oh yeah. Oh, that's what I'm talking about right there. I can't wait anymore. Let's dig into this thing. Take a nice big bite and boom, there it is. That is just flavor on flavor on flavor. If you can't tell, I am a very happy man. And that's how we do a pulled pork sandwich, Jax Sauce Co style. Man, if you liked what you see, please like and subscribe and share what we're doing here at Jax Sauce Co.